They say that heaven is like TV, a perfect little world that doesn't really need you, and everything there is made of light, and the days keep going by. Here they come. Here they come, here they come. Well, it was one of those days, larger than life, when your friends came to dinner and they stayed the night, and then they cleaned out the refrigerator, they ate everything in sight, and then they stayed up in the living room and they cried all night. Strange angels singing just for me, old stories haunting me. This is nothing like I thought it would be. Well, I was at my photo with the top down, and I looked up and there they were, millions of tiny teardrops just sort of hanging in, and I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and I said to myself, what next, big sky? Strange angel singing just for me, this fair change falls on top of me, rain falling, falling all over me, all over me. Strange angels singing just for me, old stories haunting me, big changes are coming, here they come, here they come. I'm lying in the shade of my family tree. I'm a branch that broke off. What will become of me? Dear Mom, I'm lying here in this queen-size bed. I'm thinking back to all the stories you read to me about those little animals who went to sea in their beautiful pea-green boats. But I can't remember now what happened then. Dear Mom, how does it end? The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and lots of money wrapped in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, pussy my love, what a wonderful pussy you are. You are, you are. Let us be married. Too long we've tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? A ring, a ring, a ring. What shall we do for a ring? Hey! Hey! They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the palm tree grows. And there in a wood a piggy wig stood, a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, his nose, a ring at the end of his nose. And hand in hand, at the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the, by the light of the, by the light of the moon. And hand in hand, at the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the, by the light of the, by the light of the moon. The moon, the moon. Hey! Hey!
A while ago, I was camping out in Kentucky. And I was sleeping out under this ledge. And about 3 in the morning, I woke up. And the fire was out. But I could see 2 boots standing a few feet away. I crawled out, and there was a guy standing there with a musket. He said, "We eat critters." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Critters, you know, squirrel, possum, night animals. We hunt them at night." He said he didn't think it was a good idea for a woman to be alone in those parts, and he invited me back to his house. I followed him and ended up staying a week. His name was Mr. Taylor, and he was married to Mrs. Taylor. They were also brother and sister, but they didn't think that was too strange because their parents were also brother and sister. There were 4 Taylor kids, Jack, Jim, Rhonda, and Jim, 2 Jims for some reason. We'd get up every morning and sort of hack around in the tobacco patch. And when it got too hot, we'd just sit around on the porch and sort of stare out. The landscape around there was completely desolate, except for the tobacco plants. Standard Oil had strip mined it in the 30s. And just when some vegetation was beginning to grow back, they discovered that a certain kind of low-grade shale could be converted to oil. So they came back in and drilled holes, very deep holes, hundreds of feet down into the bedrock. But they never got around to filling them in afterwards. They just sent down a shipment of manhole covers, but nobody ever bothered to put them over the holes. One day, Mrs. Taylor told me that she used to have another kid, but that he had apparently fallen down one of these holes. Her description was very abstract. Nobody tried to rescue him. He just fell down the hole. She said, well, one day I saw him out there, and I was watching, and then I didn't see him out there no more. A lot like rain. He said, isn't it? Isn't it just? Isn't it just like a woman? She said, it's hard. It's just hard. It's just kind of hard to say. He said, isn't it? Isn't it just? Isn't it just like a woman? She said, it goes. That's the way it goes. It goes that way. He said, isn't it? Isn't it just like a woman? She said, it takes. Takes one, takes one too. Takes one to know one. He said, isn't it just like a woman? She said it. She said it to know. She said it to no one. Isn't it just like a woman? Your eyes, it's a day's work to look into them. You know those nights when you're sleeping and it's totally dark and absolutely silent. And you don't dream, and there's only blackness. And this is the reason. It's because on those nights, you've gone away. On those nights, you're in someone else's dream. You're busy in someone else's dream. Some things are just pictures. They're scenes before your eyes. Don't look now. I'm right behind you.
Sun's going down like a big bald head, disappearing behind the boulevard. It's Sharky's night. Yeah, it's Sharky's night tonight. And the manager says, Sharky, he's not at his desk right now. Should I take a message? Sharky says, hey, Kamasabe, long time no see. He says, hey, sport, you connect the dots, you pick up the pieces. He says, you know, I can see two tiny pictures of myself, and there's one in each of your eyes. And they're doing everything I do. Every time I light a cigarette, they light up theirs. I take a drink, and I look again, and they're drinking too. It's driving me crazy. It's driving me nuts. Sharky says, deep in the heart of darkest America, home of the brave, he says, listen to my heartbeat. Paging Mr. Sharky, white courtesy telephone, please.
The thing that's forbidden by the Tibetan Book of the Dead is crying. Crying is not allowed because it's supposedly confusing to the dead, and you don't want to summon them back because they actually can't come back. So, no crying. When Lolabelle died, our teacher said, every time you think of her, give something away or do something kind. And I said, then I'd be giving things away non-stop. And he said, so? And it took me so long to figure it out. Because death is so often about regrets. or guilt. Why didn't I call her? Why didn't I say that? Or it's more about you than the person who died. But finally, I saw it. The connection between love and death. And that the purpose of death is the release of love.
In our country, you're free, and so you're born, and so they say, you're free. So happy birthday. And even if you were born to lose, even if you were a complete wreck when you were born, you might still grow up to be president, because you're free.
Today you might be an average citizen, a civilian, a pedestrian, but tomorrow you might be elected to some unexpected office or sell your novel and suddenly become famous. Or you could get run over by a truck, and your picture could get into the papers that way. Because you're free, and anything might happen, so happy birthday.
Gee, all those lights and all those screens. The New York experience is mind-boggling. I don't think I've ever seen that many screens before, and I'll probably come again. It was really amazing, mind-boggling.
You're walking, and you don't always realize it, but you're always falling at the same time. With each step, you fall forward. Over and over, you're falling, then catching yourself falling. And this is how you can be walking and falling at the same time.
Look, over there, it's a real dog, and it's really talking.
I wanted you, and I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you. I wanted you, and I was looking for you all day, but I couldn't find you. I couldn't find you.
Well, I paid my money, and I've got this funny feeling that somehow, it's not what I paid my money for. I mean, I paid my money, and I just don't think this is what I paid my money. What I paid my money for.
No one has ever looked at me like this before. No one has ever stared at me for so long like this. This is the first time anyone has ever looked at me like this, stared at me like this for such a long time, for so long.
Well, he didn't know what to do, so he decided to just watch the government and see what the government was doing and kind of scale it down to size and run his life that way.
She said the hardest thing to teach her 3-year-old kid was what was alive and what wasn't. The phone rings, and she holds it out to her kid and says, "It's Grandma, talk to Grandma." But she's holding a piece of plastic, and the kid says, "Hey, wait a minute, is the phone alive? Is the TV alive? What about that radio? What is alive in this room and what isn't?" Unfortunately, she doesn't know how to ask these questions.
We were in a large room full of people, all kinds, and they'd all arrived at the same time. They were all free, and they were all asking themselves the same question. What is behind that curtain? They were all free, and they were all wondering what would happen next.
This is the time, and this is the record of the time. This is the time, and this is the record of the time.
loading of passengers only. There is no parking in the red zone. Please stand clear of the moving platform. Please stand clear of the moving platform. Mr. Green, white courtesy telephone, please. Mr. Green, white courtesy telephone, please.
I went to an acupuncturist, and he said, "Do you work with electronics?" And I said, "Yeah, I happen to." And he said, "Well, let me polarize your watch for you, because electronics can really be dangerous."
One, two.
And he offered to come over and polarize my house, but I kept picturing these shelves and shelves of blank masters, and I said, maybe let's skip the polarization of my house. This filter here is a voice of
authority. It's the voice of a kind of shoe salesman, or of a guy who's trying to sell you an insurance policy you don't really want or need. Pirates actually invented ventriloquism. So I keep stuff like this around my house, you know, just to remind me of these kind of issues.
I use backup singers from boxes, electronic backup singers. These are some girls. And they come in.
Well, I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy.
Well, I see by your outfit, you're a cowboy too.
Well, I see by your outfit you're a cowboy too.
This filter here is something that I was using in a song called Coolsville, and it has a delay like this, like this, like this, like this. Just repeats itself like that. And it's for a song I wrote for a film. I shot a film in Japan about people going to work, and you just see their faces in the subway, just watch their expressions, and I really loved watching this loop, and so I wrote a song about these people going to work, and it's called Coolsville.
Hey, little darling, hey, I'm coming your way, little darling.
You know, where you work is really important, and for me, I really like being in the clutter of my house, and so I like to work here. There's just a lot of good junk, and well, like this drum, for example. This is beautiful little ceramic drum, which I used for some basic tracks, and it goes like.
You know, it's so beautiful. It's like the 4th of July. It's like a Christmas tree. It's like fireflies on a summer night. And I wish I could describe this to you better. But I can't talk very well right now, 'cause I've got this damn gas mask on. So I'm just gonna stick this microphone out the window. See if we can't hear a little better. Hello, California. What's the weather like out there now? And I only have one question. Did you ever really love me? Only when we danced. And it was so beautiful. It was like the 4th of July. It was like fireflies on a summer night. Don't forget your mittens. Hey, pal, how do I get to town from here? And he said, we'll just take a right where they're gonna build that new shopping mall. Go straight past where they're gonna put in the freeway. And take a left at what's gonna be the new sports center. Keep going till you hit the place where they're thinking of building that drive-in bank. You can't miss it. And I said, this must be the place. Great big signs, and they all say, Hallelujah, Yodel-ay-hee-hoo, every man for himself. Ooh, coo, coo.
rooms here. Otherwise, what are the characters going to fall off of? And what about stairs? Yodelay-hee-hoo. Here's a man who lives a life of danger. Everywhere he goes, he stays a stranger. Howdy, stranger. Mind if I smoke? And he said, every man for himself. Every man for himself. All in favor, say aye. Big Zion, hallelujah. Big Zion, yodelay-hee-hoo. Hey, Professor, could you turn out the lights? Let's roll the film. Big Zion, hallelujah. Every man for himself. Big Zion, It was the night flight from Houston. Almost perfect visibility. You could see the lights from all the little Texas towns far below. And I was sitting next to a 52-year-old woman who had never been on a plane before. And her son had sent her a ticket and said, "Mom, you've raised 10 kids. It's time you got on a plane." She was sitting in the window seat, staring out. And she kept talking about the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper and pointing. And suddenly, I realized that she thought we were in outer space, looking down at the stars. And I said, "You know, I think those lights down there are the lights from little towns."
but only when it can be broken.